Hey, Suzanne. Susan. Hi, Kat. How are you? Therese, good to see you. Christine. Christine could do the fashion part of the trip with us. That would be great. We can
Good.
assign, we can assign that to you. That could be really fun. Michelle, are we going to see you? She's probably
What am I
busy.
being assigned to? I'm sorry, I joined late. All I heard
I'm
is assigned to Christine, and I went, uh-oh.
I'm joking with you. I said I can assign you the fashion scouting
Hi, Michelle.
in Spain and
Hi,
France.
Hi, Kat, Therese, Susan,
There's
Suzanne,
Michelle.
Christine.
Yay. You guys know Kiki. Some of you know Kiki, right?
I didn't get to make the trip this year, but I was in New Orleans with everyone the year before, and that's when Lesley and I started talking about travel.
So Kiki, as you know, is a travel expert. And this year, just so you know, I'm going to move. It was getting hard for people to come to NOLA for the retreat more than it would have been our fourth year here. So people really wanted it to go on the road. So by the time I was able to get it going, what you run into, you can't do November in a warm area because of hurricane season. So I'm moving it to, it'll be the end of January, beginning of February. I'm not sure exactly of 25. That'll be our next retreat. So plan for that. That'll be 3 days in one place, like a spa or something like that, where we'll dig in deep to connecting and all that stuff. So this will be different. This is actually travel. And so I said to Kiki, let's do this instead. Because I love the in-person stuff and never had a chance to do the travel thing. And she came up with this fantastic itinerary. So let me just give you guys who Kiki is so you know who she is if you haven't met her before. She's come on a couple of the NOLA events before, and she's just you'll get the message. She's quite the ball of fire. She was our unintended bartender the time she came. She's like, "You don't have a bartender?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "I'll do it." And I'm like, "Okay." And so she came up with the drinks and she tended the bar. And she's very smart and very interesting. So let me give you her bio so you'll have an idea of who she is. Kiki Keating is not your ordinary travel expert. She has a passion for taking small groups on life-changing adventures and works tirelessly to ensure that every detail of her trip is meticulously planned and executed. Kiki's dedication to providing the highest level of service is evident in her approach to crafting each journey. Collaborating with the best experts and guides from around the world, she combines their knowledge and expertise with her own to create itineraries that go beyond the beaten path. Kiki's trips offer a blend of history, art, music, amazing food, and authentic interactions with the local people. Her journey as a travel leader began in 2000 when she was leading international trips for the dean and professors in her role as communications director at the business school at Dartmouth. Taking her experience from Dartmouth with her, her travel business has been dedicated to curating extraordinary and transformative journeys for travelers over the last decade. Through immersive cultural experiences and meaningful interactions, her trips foster connections that transcend borders, leaving travelers forever changed. Kiki just returned from her 18th trip to India. In fact, it was hard for me to get this done with her because we're emailing and texting and videoing from India. And she's so excited to be creating this special trip for the CoveyClub to the heart of the Pays Basque region in the western border of France and Spain. Her first experience in the region was as a school exchange program where she lived with the Basque family at the age of 16 and spent months with them in the countryside. She returns often and has stayed close with her family, taking them with her into New Hampshire and visiting them whenever she can. Kiki's trips always include destination highlights and iconic landmarks, but the journey is more about fostering a deep understanding and appreciation for the people and places we visit. Your extraordinary journey begins here. You can see why I think this is a good match for Covey if you know anything about me. So I'll just give you, you know what I'll do is I'll post so I won't read all these. Casey, will you post these testimonials in the chat so people
Sure.
can read them? So I asked Kiki for a couple. Oh my God, we'll be here all day if I read you all her testimonials. But just so you know, she's been doing this for a long, long time. So Kiki, go ahead and talk about the trip. And we had originally thought of France, but the problem with going through Paris and all of that, which is one of my favorite places on earth, is that it's the Olympics and everything is insanely priced and insanely difficult until the Olympics this summer have passed, and then we could go to Paris another time. But this is a beautiful area that combines both. And I kind of like the idea of hanging out in Biarritz. So Kiki,
Yeah.
it's all yours.
Thank you. Well, I'll start off by saying hi to everybody and that I've been a big fan of Lesley since she was running More Magazine. So when I heard about the Covey Club, I think I heard about it through one of my friends you guys probably know, Keitha, or one of the gang. I was thrilled to join this group of women. I lead trips for co-ed groups, families, but I love the women-only trips because there's some kind of special thing that goes on where we can bond. A lot of times women are coming by themselves, not bringing a friend or really not even knowing somebody, but it ends up being magical every time. So I think my women-run trips are my favorites. And then coming out of the experience we had at the last big NOLO gathering, I was just saying, Lesley, let's bring people on the road with us. So we could have run this through Paris, spent a few days in Paris, taken the train to Pau. I've got trips we can do that way, but it's just so much less expensive and wonderful to come through Madrid. So I can kind of, I'll share my screen at some point, walk you through the itinerary. You guys can ask questions. But just know that this trip has been literally specially designed for us, women like us, for Lesley, for our group. It's not, I've actually created it for us, and I think it's going to be wonderful. I know that region of France and Spain pretty well. I love it. It's a really unique little country of its own where France and Spain kind of mingle, and it's called the Pays Basque. So has anybody been there before? Raise your hand if you've been down there. Or talk? Susan?
I was in Bilbao before the museum was there.
Oh, wow.
So that like basically doesn't count because I completely forgot about it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So one of our CoveyClub friends, Kelly, is over there right now doing a month in that region. When she saw the trip posted, she said, oh my God, you're doing some of the things I've done. I love it. So we're going to see this gorgeous region. We're also going to have a chance to explore in Madrid, which is really fun. We'll get a start there. We can fly in. On our first day, we get a lot of relaxing free time, so we can walk through the botanical gardens. We can lay out and have a picnic in Retiro, this beautiful big park. Lesley's going to tell you about the journals she wants us to create. So she's going to have journals there for us to create and put artwork on. And then every day we'll have a chance to do some meditation, some sitting down and just talking to each other, and some journaling. So that's something I'm actually really excited to do, and I've been wanting to do for some time. Madrid's just an amazing place, and you can do day trips really easily to Toledo, Segovia, Cuenca. We're going to have a couple days there, so we'll spend one day really exploring Madrid and seeing some of the beautiful art museums and walking through some of the different barrios. We're going to see flamenco dancers in the evening. That's world famous and great in Madrid. But we'll make sure we have some downtime. And then we get one day where we're going to take the train out to Segovia, which is truly one of my favorite little towns outside of Madrid. It has a gorgeous cathedral. It has a beautiful little castle. It has a Roman aqueduct that dates back 2,000 years. And we can just take a little bit of a tour and then sit out on the cafes that are outdoors. And it's going to be a beautiful time of year. I can tell you about what to pack and what to wear, but it'll be in the 70s. So we can really kind of launch into summer and relax. And then we will fly to Bilbao. And I'll walk you through the itinerary, but one thing I like to do with my groups is make sure that everybody gets the best flights possible. And I work with a a couple of different agencies. I'm a tour guide and agent myself. So I've got some great connections where if you do want to go business class, I can usually find amazing deals for business class. If you want to go coach, I've got all the right tips to make sure your trip is really comfortable. So I can help you individually find your flights, and I'll help you individually get your trip insurance. And I just always insist on trip insurance on my trips, because if for some reason, who knows what could happen? You could have something happen in your family and you need to stay home. Then you're fully refunded. And so I just work with everybody. I've researched tons of different travel insurance companies. There are two I love to work with. They give you great coverage for way less than what a lot of companies charge. So I'll personally help you with flights, with trip insurance. We can talk a little bit today about packing, but I'll send you a packing list. And basically it's going to be easy breezy, fun summer clothes, some sundresses. I always love packing those really light travel pants. And I've got a couple of companies that you can order them from that are less expensive than Athleta or Lululemon, but you know, that kind of lightweight pant, just easy to pack. You're welcome to pack a big suitcase, but if we can fit it into a carry-on, that's always super easy. And I'm getting better and better at doing that. So I'll give you some good tips. Yeah, it's going to be perfect weather. It gets really crowded and really hot in Europe in the summer. And I love going on these shoulder seasons. So June's perfect. It's before it heats up. We won't have huge lines. And then the other really great time to go to Europe, if you can, is September, October. So that's when the temperatures have cooled down, the crowds are gone, it's still gorgeous out. So we're hitting it just at the perfect time. And if you'd like, I'll share my screen and we can go through the itinerary. But can I ask, unmute and ask me if you have any questions? I've been to France and London and Europe so many times. I love going. I know this area. It's going to be a beautiful trip. So any questions?
I have one. I can we extend it, because part of my heart wants to, oops,
Yeah, I can still see you. Go
Uh,
ahead.
go to Barcelona.
That's a great question. And I do this almost for all my trips. Somebody either wants to come early or stay late and go to a different city, and I will completely help you. So if you want to go to Barcelona and do like a 3-day tour, I can help set you up with a private guide and tell you just where to go and where to stay. And I love doing that. And I wish we'll see how this trip goes. And this is a nice timeline, but normally I'll do trips that are 10 to 12 days. And so if anybody would like to do a little bit more or go to another city or two, I'll absolutely be happy to work with you personally and do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? So I'll start here. If you go to my website, I don't know, that should have been in the note that Lesley sent you, but it's just kikinetworktravel.com. And
Casey will drop it into the chat as well.
Okay. Yeah. And if you want to do that, by clicking at that icon, Kiki Network Travel, at the top of each page, it just takes you to the home page, and you can click on each picture to see more about me. So this picture here is Meet Kiki Keating. It's at my bio. This picture, I still have green in my hair from doing the Holi festival in India. It's a Hindu festival where they throw paint at you and dance in the streets, and it's wonderful. And that was just a couple weeks ago. The green's coming out. But these are testimonials about my trips. I do design trips. So for people who've come on trips with me or friends who have recommended me to other people, if you have your own little group or something, I can do that. And then this is my blog, Notes from the Road. So I pop stuff up there as we go. And then each of the trips that I offer, you can just click on the picture. And there's a little overview. We've got a $500 discount, which is amazing, that Lesley has decided to offer to CoveyClub members. So I'm thrilled about that. If anyone who signs up, you'll get $500 off. And if you do have a friend or a sister or somebody you wanted to bring, because they're a friend of yours, they'd get $250 off. So we'll just click on the full itinerary. And each of the trips are set up like that, so you can see the overview and then what the whole trip is like. I love to put a little map on my itineraries, so you can see that we're flying into Madrid, and then we're going to hop up to Bilbao, and we're going to be in this beautiful region here where France and Spain merge, and their food and their cultures are so wonderfully combined there. So you can read all about this. There's all kinds of special things that we're going to be seeing. But basically, we'll fly out on June 7th. We'll arrive in Madrid on the morning of the 8th. Depending on when your flights are, we can add a hotel room the night before if you want to get right into your hotel. But I always recommend sleep on the plane if you need to, take a little sleeping pill if you need to, not an over-the-counter one, because those will make you groggy the next day, but there's Ambien or there's lorazepam that'll just help you sleep, and then you hit the ground running. And I just always tell people, don't take a nap, muscle through. We're going to have a very relaxed first day. So we'll get into Madrid, we'll check into the hotel, we can drop our bags there, we can change if we want, and then we'll take a nice little walk. It's always great to get out in the fresh air, do some walking. Lesley's going to lead us through a meditation and some journaling. Do you want to talk about that at all right now, Lesley?
I'll do that at the end. I'll talk about what we're going to do. All that
So
stuff.
that's a super first day. And then you can choose to go to bed early that evening, or we can go out for tapas. On a trip like this, and on many of my trips, I will leave dinner time open and free, where if we're all in a group together and we all want to go out together, I've got all these recommended restaurants we can go to, but some people would rather go to bed early, or they ate a lot for lunch and they want something light. So we leave evening dinners, for the most part, an open option with lots of recommendations. So every day breakfast is included. Some of the days lunch is included, or we'll stop at a neat place that we find between what we're doing on the tour that day. And this first day, we'll get a good night's sleep, and then we head out on a tour that day 2. Our guide is going to meet us at the local hotel. We'll walk through a couple of the beautiful districts, and we'll go into a couple of different museums. So we'll go into Ana Reina Sofia, see the highlights of that museum and art, and then we'll have a little bit of a lunch break, and then we'll check out the Prado, which is gorgeous, world famous, and right next to that beautiful Retiro Park. So there's lots of opportunity to get outside, do some walking around, see the art. We'll have our tickets for the whole day. So if anybody wants to go in, each museum will probably be an hour and a half tour. And if somebody wants to go back later that afternoon or evening and just immerse themselves in art, you can do that too. But we'll see the highlights, which is always very nice. And then that evening, I'll let people know about the flamenco dancers and people who want to go. This is going to be now our second day. So we should be over jet lag. And if we want to go see the flamenco dancers, that's really, really fun. And you can have your choice of eating dinner for the dance show. Day 3, this is really what Segovia looks like. It's just beautiful. It's only about a 40-minute train ride. So we'll get up there, we'll meet our guide, and I have female guides set up for us who are historians and art history, and they'll be really fun and wonderful to lead us around. And you can read a little bit. I'm not going to read the website to you, but you can read all about what we're going to be doing there. We'll get to see this beautiful aqueduct. We'll hear about the Romans. We'll hear about who's been in that town for over the many, many centuries. We'll visit the cathedral, and we'll have lunch there and hopefully sit in some cafes, and then we'll head back into Madrid and get ready for our morning flight the next day. Bilbao is fabulous. It's got the biggest open air market in Europe, and it's got a lot of history and a lot of really interesting things there. The town's known for its organic market, and of course it's known for the Guggenheim. So we'll visit the beautiful museum. We'll take a walk around there. We'll see this beautiful covered market. And then in the afternoon, when we've had our fill of Bilbao, we'll head down to beautiful Rioja, where we're staying in a lovely little village, and we'll get a good night's sleep and get up the next day and do a little bit of a winery tour. So we'll visit some of the really famous, lovely wineries. We'll get to taste the wine. For lunch, they're going to be serving us cheeses and jamon and a lot of the local fare for lunch. So we'll get hot and cold tapas. And then we'll explore some of the other beautiful little cities. This one, LaGuardia, is on a hill and it's circled by an old ancient wall. I don't know if you guys have ever been into either San Gimignano in Italy or Carcassonne in France. They're beautiful little old preserved medieval towns. There is a game called Fronton. Has anybody ever heard of that? It's a Basque game that you play with hands and balls. And there's a court right across from our hotel. So maybe we'll get lucky and there'll be a match out there and we can see it at night. But otherwise, our hotel has a really lovely little wine bar and great food, so we can settle in. That second day, 6, we will get to go to Zumaya. This is some of the stuff that Kelly was saying she visited too. This has really interesting, beautiful rock formations and cliffs, and we'll get a little tour with our guide about this geology and some of the breathtaking sights that we're going to see there. So we'll get a nice little guide there, and then we're going to go to a Chacoli winery, and that's a really famous white wine that's going to be delicious. It's, if you guys like minerally wines, maybe something like a Sauvignon Blanc or something, it's their local region of that. And again, we'll get to taste and pair with some of the food. And then Getaria is another beautiful little town. It's a little fishing village. So we're going to hear a lot about that village. And then for anybody in the fashion world who knows Balenciaga, that's where he was born. And there's a little museum of some of the works that he's done there. And that we'll head back. We can have a nice, delicious seafood dinner that night. And we'll be heading, we'll be holed up that evening. We'll get to San Sebastian, which is the little coastal town in Spain that we're going to stay for the next 2 days. The next day we'll head north. Biarritz is not that far from San Sebastian. So we'll head up to Biarritz. We'll get a beautiful little tour. Biarritz is where Napoleon built a nice little castle for his wife. It's an area that's always been known for being really good if you had asthma or if you wanted to get away from the cities. So a lot of people would come down to this area, and she would swim in the sea every day. Now this little palace that he built is a hotel, so we can go in there and have a tea and walk along the area. And then we're going to get to one of my favorite cities, little villages that I love, which is San Sebastian. San Sebastian is where Louis XIV married his wife, the Princess of Spain, and merged the two countries together. So there's a lot of history, and we'll go into the little church where he was married. And there's a little Piazza Louis XIV, and there's all kinds of really cute little shops, really famous little Pays Basque places for macarons, and really great patisserie. There's a special little Basque cake. So we're going to walk around and sample things. And it's also the part of where Rioja and this area on the coast is where they have been making espadrilles for centuries. So we're going to I've been writing in French to a couple of little places down there, and we've got a tour that we can take to see how the espadrilles are made, and maybe be able to finish them off ourselves by picking which ribbons we want or putting some designs on them. So towards the end of that day, which will be a wonderful day, we're going to go to this other beautiful little town, Hondarribia, and it's another fortified medieval old town, full of flowers and cobblestone streets, and head back. We'll get a rooftop dinner and decide where we want to go along San Sebastian. And then we'll get ready to fly home. So we can fly out of Bilbao. It's about an hour from San Sebastian and probably have a connection in Madrid. So when we're looking at flights, I'll set that all up for you. Things you probably would want to know, and if you want to go back to it, down at the bottom of this page on the website, you can see all of the different beautiful hotels we're staying in. They really are unusual and lovely and special. This is the rooftop pool when we're back in San Sebastian. And then at the bottom, it talks about what's included. So let's just see. And I can send you a little thing. So what's included is everything that you see here. Always breakfast, some lunches as they're detailed. The entire cost of the trip, the hotels, the flights, training line, the flights from, let me stop everybody. The flights from Madrid to Bilbao, everything that's detailed in there is included. We don't include alcohol because some people might want a $90 bottle of wine and some people might just want a glass. Or so we usually have people decide on, you know, if we're all at dinner together and 5 of us are sharing a bottle of wine, we'll split that bill or whatever, but we leave alcohol not included. And most of the dinners, as I've said, are not included because people have different needs and wants. Spain tends to be up really late. And if you want to go to bed early, or Lesley has said she doesn't sometimes like to eat a full dinner. So rather than including a, you know, something that the cost of the trip, we'll leave it up to individuals. But what usually ends up happening is everybody is having so much fun together that we'll decide together as a group, oh, let's go here. Or we, you know, I'll show you some of the recommended restaurants or places that we could go, and whatever we're in the mood for that day we'll do, rather than a commitment of having to be somewhere at 8:30 every night. So I'm completely open for questions. As you know, I love to travel. I love to lead trips. I love to make sure everybody's happy all the time and comfortable. So,
Do you have any
feel free to-
questions for Kiki before I'll tell you a little bit about the things that I'm gonna have us do, but do you have any specific questions for Kiki? Yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
So I just want to be clear, Kiki, thank you. It sounds just lovely and rich and varied and, you know, a lot of fun. So I'll just say that was my reactions to it.
Yay, awesome.
Yeah, but just in terms of what's included, so I hear hotels and the flights within, obviously, Spain, and yes, I hear breakfast, but the other large expense is on us in terms of our flights, both there.
Oh, yeah. And the reason we don't include flights is some people like to go business class. Some people have miles. Some people like to go economy. Some people might want to fly in somewhere early or stay somewhere late. So it's just so much easier as far as a small group trip to have me work with you individually and say, where do you want to go? Where are you coming from? How does that work? So yeah, and I'll help you figure out whatever's best for you. We have a private driver that's going to be taking us everywhere. So that's all of that is included. We have private guides that are just for our group. There's nobody else joining us. All of that, everything that you're hearing about, and all of the transfers being picked up at the airport, being dropped off, all that's included.
Right. And I just don't know what the price is. Do we know what that is yet, Lesley?
What
Oh,
the price of the
for-
trip is?
Yes.
It's on the page there. Kiki, do you-
Yeah, it's $6,400, and with your discount, it's $5,900.
I think it's $5.99.
5,999, or yeah, it's 6,499.
Yeah.
So did you mention we can invite a friend?
Yes,
Absolutely.
friend, daughter. I don't know if a spouse will want to come, but you can certainly-
Well, that was my question. Like, is a spouse invited or is this strictly a girls' trip?
it's a girls' trip, but you know, it depends on how you would like to handle it. I mean, it depends also on the guy. If he wants to be with a bunch of women the whole time, you might love it, you might hate it. But
Got
I
it.
think that, you know, you
Well, let
can
me ask you this. In the
yeah,
past, have you had a spouse come
go ask
on a,
Kiki that. That's a good question.
I have definitely, I've run trips where I've only had one fella come with his wife and the rest were women, and we had a blast. Um, I've had trips where lots of people brought their spouses. So if it turns out your spouse wanted to come, we'd probably let people know, and maybe more people would say, "Oh, I'll bring my brother, or I'll bring a spouse, or I'll bring whatever." Because the price is based on two people sharing a room, and often on a trip like this, um, people will raise their hands and say, "I'd like to share a room so I can get the benefit of that, double room cost." Are there others that want to share a room? And usually we're all like-minded, we're all good, good for the trip. So a lot of people will room together. Um, does anybody else have a spouse or brother or friend who's a guy who might want to come?
We've had guys who belonged, we had one guy who belonged to Covey Club for like 2 years. He was very adventuresome. He came to all the meditations. He was a really funny guy. And so like we leave it open. So
I was just curious because I have a friend
yeah,
who I'd like to invite. She's
yeah,
female, but I can
great.
first I can hear my
Yeah.
husband going, "Who's all going?" If I say all women, he's probably going to be like, "Well, have a nice time," until
Yeah.
until I ask him. But he goes on a lot of girls trips with me, so I was just curious.
Sure.
Well, I do always encourage, um, one of the reasons I even started this business is because it's so hard to catch up with family and friends. You get this much time if you see a friend or you see them at a cocktail party or a dinner, and that's great. You can catch up with them. Our best friends from college, our best friends in our lives, if we're lucky, we get to see them a couple times a year for a weekend. And so there's something incredibly peaceful and wonderful and relaxing about having 7 or 8 days with a friend. You're rooming together. You don't have to all try to catch up over a crazy dinner party in 3 hours. It's just wonderful. So, selfishly, that's one of the things I love about my trips. I love it when my friends join, and often they do, or they spread the word. And then it's a great way to make new friends. So if you have a friend you haven't seen in a while, or a sister, or whatever, we thought we'd offer that extra discount just in case you had somebody in mind.
Any other questions, guys? And I'll tell you a little bit about, anybody have a question? Susan? No? Sia, did you see what we're talking about? You'll see this is a video we'll send to you since you missed the beginning part of it. But you'll see the Kiki walkthrough. We walked through Kiki's bio, and she walked through on her site is the actual itinerary. And Casey will put the link to that again in the chat. If you wouldn't mind, Case, just drop it in there again for Sia. And let me just tell you a little bit about the stuff that we'll be doing. You know, I'm a big facilitator, bonder, connector. That's my whole shtick, right? What's the point in doing it if it's not going to be Covey, right? So I'm a big meditator. I meditate every morning, so I have to meditate anyway. And you don't have to do any of this stuff, but if you want to, I'm offering a 15-minute guided meditation every morning. I like to find really interesting historical places to meditate. When I was traveling in Japan, I would meditate in Buddhist temples, and I would go. One time we were doing the issue at Moore with Michelle Obama. I was freaking out because I had an interview her, and I just went into the map room, closed the door, and had a wild meditation in one of the most historical rooms in the world, right? So I like to find those places. I think they're really fun. So Kiki will indicate, you know, we don't have to do it first thing in the morning. We can do it when we find the right place. But those are really fun. I do TM, and it's really super easy. And I can teach it to you. Then one of the things that we did, and Suzanne can talk about it, design your own journal. Kiki has some amazing journals she can buy in Spain that she'll bring ahead of time, or we'll send them over there. One of the most amazing things we did in the last NOLA trip was we got everybody together and we decorated our journals, and we just had these little teeny little Covey decorated journals. I found what people said when they talked about what they put on the front of their journals. Do you have yours, Suzanne, there? No? Yeah, if you have it. We talked about what the decorations meant to each other, and I brought all kinds of decorations. I brought little poetry stickers. Yes, people went through it and described, I mean, look at these things. And then when people walked through what it was and what it meant, we learned more about each other by talking about our journals. It was simply the most amazing thing I've ever done. So I want to do that. So Kiki said I can ship all the stuff. I have to ship glitter and glue and all that crap over. So we're going to do that.
And we'll do it out. We can pick where we want to do it, but we could do it out in the park, in the beautiful outside. Can you guys raise your hands if you journal regularly already? I love that. I've gone in and out of doing it in my life, and I'm hoping this kind of bounces me back into just getting into a meditation and journal. And if anybody likes to do yoga, we'll have time and I can lead a yoga class, or you guys can.
Fantastic. That's great. And but that was really, really fun. And you can use the journal, you know, for photos or scraps or whatever if you don't want to journal. Again, this is all up to you if you want to do it. But I'll bring all this stuff, and you can do it how you like it. Daily writing prompts. I'll bring a bunch of daily writing prompts. We just had an event today that was mind-blowing, which was a writing prompt that I can't even tell you what it brought out in people. We wrote for 7 minutes. I would have thought we were writing for an hour. And then we shared our writing, and it was simply a prompt about the one rule that you grew up thinking couldn't be broken. And it was astonishing what everybody wrote. It's amazing. These are not professional writers. So we'll do stuff like that. I have another thing. Suzanne knows this too, because she's been before. What's my secret bingo? It's one of my silly things I like to do, where we get you to give us anonymously a silly secret thing that no one knows about you on the trip. And we put it in a bingo card, and then you have to ask each other and find out.
I love that.
It's really fun, really silly. Nightly fireside chats. Again, when we did those at Savannah, which was one of the first retreats I did, we just sat outside before dinner and we talked about reinvention. We talked about our lives, and that was some of the best stuff that people really enjoyed during the event. The Who Are You Shuffle, that was really amazing. I've done it several times, where I walk through a set of statements, and everybody gathers along one side of the room. And if it's true for you, you walk into the middle of the room and you see who else walks into the middle of the room with you. And I found out things about people that I thought I knew that I had no idea about. And it's fun because it's not just your brain, it's your body. So we have a bunch of those things on tap, and then there'll be other things that come up, and Kiki and I have a little surprise pool as well that we plan to do. So you'll be surprised by other things. We just have a little, what do you want to call it? Daily surprise idea. So
if you guys unmute, everybody unmute, and then we can talk.
Do you have a question?
A couple of questions. Do all of the hotels have swimming pools? I kept looking at that water thinking, can we get in the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea?
Oh, we can definitely get in the sea, and we should all bring bathing suits and go into the sea at Saint Jean de Luz or San Sebastian. I know our hotel in San Sebastian has a rooftop pool, and I think the other two do, and I'll double check, okay?
Just curious, but I couldn't bear to go that close to the sea and not jump in.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
It's where Napoleon swam with his wife. We got to get in there and take a
Exactly.
photo.
Exactly.
Oh,
Is there a deadline that you need to sign up by, or is there a?
Excellent point. So the trip is really, let's see, April, May, June. It's a little more than 2 months away.
Mhm.
So we're going to offer this discount and hope that people can sign up by April 30th. Because for me, from my side, I'm holding rooms, I'm holding drivers. The sooner I know we've got our group, the sooner I can put money down on all that. And you know, it's really starting to be a busy time, so they appreciate that too. So you can sign up tomorrow, you can sign up whenever you'd like, but we'll hold
Yeah.
that discount till the end of April. And we'll have there's a place you can pay. I'll activate it on the site. You can pay right on the site, and you can do an ACH transfer, or you can mail me a check if that's easier, or you can pay by credit card. And we'll ask for 50% down, and then the last 50% by May 10th. So we can just book everything.
and just so you know, guys, we need 8 people before we can give it a go. We need 8 people signed up, and then we can go.
I was going to ask about how do you choose where people are going to share the same rooms, or do you? Because I know I remember reading something about if you wanted your own room, there was another little cost to that.
Yes,
Is that
and
right?
some people do just, they'd rather travel by themselves, or they you know, want their space, which is absolutely fine. So if you want to do that single, that's fine. And we can take as many as 10 or 11, maybe even 12. So we just like to get a minimum of 8. So if it turns out that you do want to come and you do want a room with somebody, we'll talk. We'll either get on a Zoom call with a couple of the other people that are also wanting roommates, or you can talk to them on the phone. Just say, hi, do we have similar interests? Do you snore? You know.
So
That's what I discovered about my very best friend. I had her in when I did Savannah, my lifelong friend who I've known since 16.
Oh,
I'm a terrible sleeper, and she snored so badly I got no sleep whatsoever.
Oh,
Anyway, go ahead, Suzanne.
if we sign up and I'm open to sharing a room, but I don't have anybody to share a room with. So if we sign up, do we pick shared rooms so you know we are open to it? And if it doesn't work out, we'll just pay the supplement. I mean, how do we like?
that sounds perfect. And since it's such a nice small group, and I just stuck my email in the chat, and you've got it, you know, you've got it also, it's on my website. It's just kiki@kikinetwork.com. So it's a pretty easy email, but you can email. I'll just put my phone number in here too. I really am a hands-on kind of person who you can call almost any time of day or night. And we'll work on trips, we'll work on flights, you know, whatever. But yeah, what I would do is, if you want a double, sign up for the double, knowing that you may pay the single supplement, and we'll see who else wants to do it. And then the other thing is, reach out to a couple of friends and just say, I'm so excited about this trip. I'd love to have a roommate. What do you think?
Well,
And
I did that already. So I've exhausted all my people that could even afford to go. So it's just how it is.
yeah, pop it in there as a double, email me, and then we'll see if we can find you a roommate. And if not, pay a single supplement.
And what about the part where you do the flight? So is that something that'll be triggered by signing up that like how
Absolutely. As soon as you sign up, you can call me, email me, and we'll,
Okay.
where will you be flying out of?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Great. Great. I live between New Hampshire, so then I fly out of Boston, and I'm down in Florida a lot visiting my 85-year-old parents. So that's you know, one of the Florida airports. But I work with people. We may have people coming in from Europe for this trip. I've got, you know, friends in Paris or other places that might want to do this. So you just let me know and we'll just get you the very best. And we can do I always do a cost comparison because I usually can get really good business class flights. Going to Europe, I don't usually do business class, but I'll always ask to sit in the front row, the bulkhead, because then you can kind of put your feet up on the wall and relax a little. So it'll be up to you. And then if you do have a lot of frequent flyer miles, we'll see if we can find an airline that's going right into Madrid, and you can use some frequent flyer miles, or American Express has points. But I'll work with each of you for that.
Great.
Do you know if is it mostly direct flights? Do you know?
Madrid is a really good hub for direct flights. So it just depends where you're coming from. And if you're, for me, it probably, I don't know if there's a direct from Boston. I might just take a train to New York and fly out of New York. So we'll just check what's best for each of you.
Okay.
So because everybody's coming in at a different time, when you land, is there somebody there to pick you up to take you to the hotel? Did you mention that and I missed it?
Yes.
Okay.
And most of the flights do leave in the evening and land in the morning. So it's pretty sure that we're all going to get there in the morning. But we'll coordinate that. We'll have drivers pick you up and take you right to the hotel. Susan and Therese and Chia, do you guys have any questions?
Sounds so incredible. I can't make the dates, but it sounds really wildly fabulous.
Good. Well, hopefully we'll do 1 or 2 of these every year, and we'll try lots of different interesting places. If you have a place on your bucket list, I know Lesley and I want to hear about it. I'm thinking there's a beautiful trip to India that I just got back from. You can check out on my website. I'm thinking I'll probably do that type of trip every year, just because it's just so interesting. And of course, there's there's Latin America, Asia, all over the place that we could go. So,
And
I'm
Kiki,
going to do India, so maybe India next. Okay, Therese.
no, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, part of my decision making is that I really would have to have a terrible time getting out of a commitment that I have, which would make me, if I couldn't do the whole trip. Can you do part of the trip or not?
if you, I would talk to me in person, because if you can do a big chunk of the trip and then we have to fly you out early and it's easy enough to do, I think we would consider doing that.
Okay. It would be my coming late. In other words, I need the time at when you'd all be beginning. You'd be probably a couple of days ahead of me, which in a way I really don't like, because I would rather be with everybody all of the time. Sometimes you feel kind of, awkward coming in when everybody has already, gotten to know each other.
Let's talk about it and look at the dates and see how it would work, and it might work out just fine.
But the whole trip sounds absolutely divine. It really does.
Thank you. Well, Lesley's definitely going to be spreading it out to the CoveyClub, but please feel free to share it with friends on your own.
So did you mention the friend gets 250 off?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know if I saw that in the chat or not. I have been texting with a friend because she needs to do something like this. She recently got a divorce. She's trying to get her stuff together, and she's ready to sign up. She just has some questions. So I think this is a riot.
Give her my email and my phone number.
Yeah,
and I'd love to talk to her in person as well. And I have to say, there's something magical about just getting away.
I have not been away in 3 years, so I am dying to go. I'm like, Kiki, let's go. We got to make this happen.
I laugh about it sometimes, but I'll have pictures on the first day or 2 of the trip. People are just getting to know each other. They haven't been traveling. They're getting over whatever's been going on in their lives, sometimes things that aren't so great. And I'll just give you one example, a woman that I adore who's going to travel with me again. But her husband and she were best friends with the guys of another couple. So they were best friends as little kids, and then they got married and they've been traveling together. Well, her husband died and they'd been wanting to go to Sicily. And so finally, the couple and the one whose husband died decided they'd go to Sicily with me in a small group. And we had a couple of other people on the trip. And I think the first day or two were just really sad for her because she hadn't been traveling since he died. This was supposed to be a place they were going to go together. By a few days into the trip, she just realized she was living this for him. It was a wonderful thing. By the end of the trip, she was laughing and having the best time. And it was like watching her. I don't know. It's the reason I do this kind of work. I love it. I love watching people come in. I've had a lot of different women that have ended relationships or are coming from, losing someone in their life. And the whole thing about getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your hometown where everybody knows you, meeting new women, talking about transformation, knowing that no matter how old we are, I'm 61, I'm reinventing myself, I'm doing whatever. We can all be entrepreneurial. And there's something so powerful and wonderful about that. And I love watching it. So every trip I have somebody who's kind of getting over something. And by the end of the trip, they're practically a poster
Cured.
model for, another trip I want to do,
It's wonderful.
Therese, I'll just tell you, if you have to come a little late, knowing the Covey Club the way we do, you'll just jump right in.
Yeah,
It's such a different group. It's not,
yeah.
it's
You'll
like,
hit the ground running. We'll welcome you with open arms.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
not, it's
It
not.
really does sound so wonderful. And I feel like I haven't been anywhere in years.
either.
And really, it's
I
just,
haven't gone anywhere. I've been stuck at home since COVID, you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
And Chia, please tell your friends, your friend to call me. I just wrote my number in the chat. And Lesley, you'll have my phone number and email on everything you send out. I really do love being called, and I love answering questions, and I love helping with flights and insurance and all that stuff.
Thank you.
So
And Casey will send this video to all of you, and then you guys can send that around. If any friends have any questions, they want to understand what it's about, they can listen to the video. Any other questions, guys? No? Okay, let me
I just think one more thing. It's just nice to know that we're seeing lots of great stuff, but we have time to relax. We have time to go for walks. We have time, to do meditation and things like that. It's not one of those rush around trips,
Yeah, I don't like those. So I said that's also why I didn't want to do dinners every night that you had to be at, because I'm just an early to bed after COVID. I'm like early to bed person. So sometimes I just, and in Spain, when we were there many years ago with my husband, it was like dinner was 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I'm long gone by then. So
well, I'm a late night person, so I'll stay up with
right.
whoever wants to.
But so it's nice. You can, you can go at your own pace, and that's what's great. And Kiki, did you spell it out on your site, each one, what dinners or lunches?
Yeah,
are?
at the bottom of each day, it's spelled out. So
Good.
everyday breakfast,
Great.
which is always wonderful because you can stock up for the day.
Yeah.
A couple of different lunches, but when we're on the road, we're going to leave it open for where we want to stop and what you might want to eat. And then every night is going to be open. We'll decide as we go.
Right. Oh,
Can
thank
I
you.
tell you guys about what's coming? Is there any other questions for this? And I'll just tell you what else is coming up so you don't miss it.
Okay.
So this is what's coming, is How to Lead from Your Most Authentic Self, Thursday, April 4th at 6 p.m. Michelle Risa, CEO of Collaborative Solutions. She was just here, but she had to go. On track to help 1 million women by 2030, we'll share a system to help you identify where your most authentic self lies and where you are out of alignment. This life map, a tool that she will make available to you, will allow you to leave with 3 actionable takeaways to apply to each dimension of your life: yourself, your relationship with others, and your impact on the world. Tiny Habits for a Sugar-Free Lifestyle, that starts April 8th. I'm teaching that. If you want to learn how to remove sugar from your life, I can show you some tiny habits that will help you do it. I had to go sugar-free. It was not pleasant, but I'm there, shockingly.
You're amazing.
Why You Don't Play Big, How to Negotiate and Advocate for Yourself, Wednesday, April 10th at 2 p.m. Psychologist, Covey Club member Bonnie Wims will explore why women struggle with self-advocacy and negotiation and the key concerns that hold us back from playing big. You'll get tools to help you prepare your negotiation and rethink your negative beliefs so you can build a strong case and present it with confidence. There you go, guys.
Okay.
Well, I hope we have you all
Excellent.
coming. Bring
I hope
friends,
so.
bring spouses, ask Kiki questions.
Susan, I'm sorry you can't make this time, but I hope you'll make others. And I love that you listened in, and feel free to share this video with people and have people call me.
I just thought I would torture myself, so
Yay.
Yeah, you can torture. You never
We'll
know.
be sending pictures every day.
lovely.
Yeah.
Things might change. We've got 2 months, right? You never
Yeah.
know what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Exactly.
Thanks to all of you for coming, and please do text or call if you need anything. And if you know you're going to sign up, we'll get working on your flights.
Great.
Yeah.
Sooner the
Great.
better.
So much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Yay.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Bye, Lesley.
Nice.
Ciao.
everybody.